Hey, I still have some new people asking me how I make the BBBE bread, and I'm gonna make it the version 2 egg white protein powder. I will post this again. There's a way to make it with just the raw egg whites and then the egg white protein powder totally. So I'm gonna make this for all the new folks. Anyway, I have got 1.5 cups of water in my container. In my mixing bowl, I have added, and let me read my recipe, 1 teaspoon cream of tartar. This is cream of tartar. And then I am in this bowl right here, this little bowl. I'm putting my dry ingredients. This is gonna have my packet of beef base keto chow. You can use your bone broth powder that you have instead of the beef base keto chow. If you can't find keto chow, don't have keto chow, can't get it where you're at, you can use powdered beef bone broth or powdered chicken bone broth. Then I have 6 grams of egg yolk powder. If you cannot find egg yolk powder, you can substitute that with 1 or 2 yolks, which will be put in at the very, 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 very end. I also have 1 tablespoon or 6 grams of butter powder. If you cannot get or you do not want to use butter powder, you can use 1 tablespoon melted and cooled butter, and I would use unsalted butter for this because the keto chow or your bone broth is going to have salt in it already, so I would not add additional salt. And then you would add the egg yolk and the butter at the very, very last. If you're using the powdered, you can put them all together in this little bowl.
Last of what?
Put it in at the very end, at the very last.
Okay.
I'll share as we go.
Okay. Yeah. Good idea.
You can't put it in until you've beaten everything in stiff. And I'm going to go through that as we go. So, now I've got 1.5 cups of water, a teaspoon of cream tartar in here, and you may or may not use a tablespoon of allulose. You do not have to use it. If you want to use it, you can put it in now or you can put it in later. It does not matter with the allulose only. So I'm putting in glad I checked this out, 120 grams into the water.
Of what?
Of the mixing bowl.
No, what do you put? Egg white. Okay.
Egg white protein powder. There you go. Okay, good. Scared me.
You're fine.
Now, we're going to beat this for 5 minutes, then we're going to add the dry ingredients. So let's get this set for 5 minutes. Let's get this up. Move, Harry, because this is going to get dusty. Guys, I want you to look at how creamy this is. Someone says hers never got more than how like you whip cream. Well, that's about right. Just stick your finger in it, and if it stays there, and see the little peak right there? If it stays like that, it's done.
Or you can take and hold the thing over your head.
Well, no, because then you have to beat it all off and everything else. Now, it's going to take you longer by hand. It's going to take you more like 10 minutes by hand. The lower gauge beater mixer you have, the longer it's going to take. This is the high motor powder. It beats faster. The faster it beats, the sooner it's going to have the peak. So I'm going to add some of my powder in. I'm just going to put my powder all around. Now, if you had raw egg yolks and raw melted cooled butter, you would wait and get your powdered stuff in. Your powdered fat, your powdered bone broth would go in here. Excuse me. And then after you beat it here and incorporated it on low, this is where you would add the egg yolk and the butter. Now I like beating it for 10 seconds, the count of 10, just to make sure it's incorporated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You do not want to overbeat it or you will have big piece of styrofoam. Okay.
I'll have a what?
You will have a big piece of styrofoam if you overbeat it. If you overbeat any of the recipes with bread. I have to remember which pot I've got here. I cooked with Little Red yesterday or day before yesterday, and now I got this one. Now, you take this. Watch your ears. Hold your ears. I'm going to beat the pan. Now you want to get all the powder, anything that's left on the sides. Excuse me, Harry. You gotta work fast. And you can kind of see the color differential. Move, Harry, honey, I can't get to my batter. I know you want to get the shot. Harry's got his camera right in my way. And of course, he's right where my left hand is, too. Because the egg yolk starts to fall. So you want to get it beat. You want to make sure there's no white streaks where it's just plain egg white without the added ingredients, or you'll have a streak in your bread that'll make kind of a thicker, more dense bread where that white streak is. Now you want to make sure you push your batter down gently. But see how creamy the batter is, you guys? It's not stiff, it's creamy, but the peak's stiff. If that makes sense. Look at that. See how nice that batter is?
To me, it's like almost like icing.
It's just beautiful. It's a different texture than if you were making meringue egg whites with raw eggs. This is a creamier, different consistency. It's softer than egg whites, if that makes sense to anybody. It's just a softer batter. There we go. It goes into a 325 preheated oven, 325 degrees Fahrenheit, preheated oven for 40 minutes. I put it on the middle rack because it is going to rise quite a bit in the oven, and I make it go for 40 minutes. And then I wash this all off right away, because if you don't, egg white sticks to everything. It turns to cement, doesn't it, Harry?
Yep.
It does. Anyway, you guys, that's how I make it. I will repost this version. There are two versions, one with raw egg whites and one with all egg white protein powder. I use version 2, the egg white protein powder version. Hey guys, gotta clean up my mess now. You guys, I gotta get the bread out of the oven. And then somebody's calling me at corporate. Ooh, look at that. Look at that.
Ooh,
It was the
nice,
operator that was calling me, so. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? And I want to share. Harry put the little knob on my butter dish.
Yep.
We went to Hobby Lobby and got the little knob. Isn't it cute? Now I've got a nice little custom butter dish. Yes, indeed. I'm going to take my bread out. Got stuck in the corner.
Nice shot of Wendy's hand. That's all I can get.
Sorry, dear. Try not to tear your paper. You can reuse it if you don't tear it too badly. Just knock off the crumbs and put it back in the pan for batch bread number 2. Right?
Yep.
And there you have it. So please note, this bread recipe is super versatile. You can use keto chow, beef base. You can use bone broth powder. Instead of the butter powder, you can use real melted but then cooled butter, and you can use egg yolks instead of egg yolk powder,
I don't know
you
what I'm doing with
guys.
this camera.
That camera's going everywhere. Anyway, you guys, just take the breadcrumbs off. Ooh, there's a piece. So good. I just take my bread over to the sink right here, knock off the crumbs, and then just reuse the paper. Especially if you're going to do another batch of bread right away. That's all. There you go. Ready for bread loaf number 2. And this is just going to sit here and get nice and cooled off. And then we have fresh bread again. But isn't that lovely? I'm telling you, it really makes a nice loaf of bread, doesn't it, Harry?
Yep.
Smells so good too, you guys. Isn't that pretty? I think the powdered butter makes the crust look brown. Or it's something in the keto chow, because it just really, because when I made it with the other bone broth and real butter and real raw egg yolks, it was just as pretty and just as brown, wasn't it?
Yep.
I think it's the butter. Anyway, you guys, it's a perfect loaf of bread. Near as can be, anyway. Soft and delicious.
Yeah, she can make them in her sleep now.
Okay, you guys, come back in the next segment. Harry and I are going to have the liverwurst sandwiches for a late lunch. It's 2:30 and we're having a late lunch, so I'm taking my bread. It won't fit in this way, but it will fit in this way. Yes, it will. I'm just going to put a little piece of paper here. Get my loaf started. Ooh, this bread feels nice. You get 16 slices, you guys. It's so nice. There we go. Got our loaf. Got our nice bread. Got my liverwurst here. Got mustard, because Harry and I like mustard, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
bread. Nice. And this liverwurst is boar's head, and it's really good liverwurst, isn't it, Harry?
Yeah, you get that at wait, did you get this at
Well, you can get it at any boar's head deli counter.
So you got this one over at Sprouts?
This one came from Bash's. Bash's has boar's head, see? Bash's. Excuse me. Now I gotta cut this. Cut myself a couple pieces. Oops. And the liverwurst is really healthy for you guys. And you know what? Give it a try, because if you don't like liver, liverwurst is really good.
I don't like liver. I hate liver.
Well, your mom
But I love
made you eat,
liverwurst.
but you love liverwurst because
Yeah.
it's just got a lot of flavor.
Well, it doesn't taste like liver to me.
No, it's got a lot of flavor. There you go. There's our liverwurst sandwiches, you guys. Yes, indeed. The BBBE sandwich champions on BBBE bread, mustard, and liverwurst. Okay, you guys, gotta eat now.